Hello everybody, welcome to episode 3 of the ICU. This is going to be a very special episode because usually previous episodes I've only done one-to-one interviews with particular creators, whereas I have 3 fantastic creators today who are all members of a team that they've created. That's Ldtv. If you guys want to introduce yourself.
I'll go first. It's no problem. I'm Ellie, also known as Elisis. Streaming for about just kind of up a year now, 11 months or 10 months. Stream every single day. I'm from Kent. Not much really else to say apart from that. I stream every day and I stream many games.
Thank you. That's something I want to definitely touch on as well with your streaming every day and your goals, but we'll get to that very, very soon. Shelby?
Yeah, so I'm Shelby. I'm a variety streamer from Newcastle. I've been streaming since about May 2020. I am the Potato Party host, as what most people know me as. And yeah, kind of similar to Emily, Ellie there, I do stream quite a lot of different kind of games and stuff. So yeah.
And then that leaves Monty.
Hi, I'm Ryan, otherwise known as Captain Monty. You'll also see a little Frenchie most of the time on my stream called Mini. I'm a variety streamer and I've been streaming properly since about April last year, and I pretty much stream anything and everything, including body painting and all sorts of other stuff.
That's brilliant. Thank you guys. And again, I've said this probably 18 times to all of you. Thank you all for agreeing to do this. It's great to have you all here, and it's great to get your kind of thoughts over the last year when you pulled your resources together and the reasons for Ldtv and what that offers to not just you guys as creators but also all the creators that are under the Ldtv hat currently at the moment. And for all of you that are unaware, Ldtv is a team of streamers who have all brought themselves together. They've pulled in some more people. As you'll see probably on screen here, that there is the team option. You've got the founders at the top and then everybody who's kind of live now. It's a really good setup they've got in the Discord channel. And if you guys are ever wanting to join this Discord channel, then that link will be in the description below on this video. But like I said, it's a fantastic piece of collaborative format that you've got here. It's great to see people getting involved, introducing themselves, popping up some brilliant clips of all of your streams and some of their own streams as well. It's so great to see so many people. Now, the question on that is, why is it that you all pulled together your resources? And I'm guessing that you guys knew each other before Ldtv quite extensively. Maybe you were part of the same gaming group. And, what are the reasons why you decided to create Ldtv?
I think basically, essentially, what it was, we've known each other for quite a while. I met Monty back in probably May, if not just before then, when he was doing a charity stream. And about a month after that, I think I met Shelby, and we kind of all collected into this one big unit. Originally, and I hate the word to say it, but we originally all formed part of a big community of quite a lot of other streamers and a lot of viewers. We all sort of just gelled together and played a lot of games together, and came to the culmination not 6-7 weeks ago, I think maybe 7 weeks ago now, where Monty had the idea after I had a Rust server to sort of make it an official thing. It took 1 or 2 weeks in terms of building process and throwing about ideas. And Ldtv was born, or Lockdown TV. It's the longer, but I don't know if anybody wants to add to that.
Yeah, and I guess off the back of that, the name choice, like Lockdown TV, is kind of the origin of how we met, I think. Yeah. I don't know about you guys, but for me, I don't think I would have streamed if last year hadn't have happened the way it did. And it kind of stemmed from there, like Twitch kind of was the saving grace last year. It felt like my social life moved online, and I met all these people and we played games together, and it kind of just birthed from there. So I think like you said earlier, it was just kind of a bit of positivity on what was quite a gloomy year, sadly, last year.
Yeah. Oh, that's fantastic to see all of that. Sorry, Monty, I'll cut you off right there.
No. Sorry, I was just going to say, with the whole lockdown side of it, definitely I don't know if I would have streamed otherwise. I think I was in the thoughts of doing it, and then because of mental health and all that sort of stuff, I ended up jumping back into it properly. And it's, to be honest, it's helped out massively, and the people within Ldtv have helped out massively as well.
Yeah, it's a really great story to hear, especially, you know, as I'd said, and as you said then as well, Shelby, this last year has been a shower, to say the least, for a lot of people. And I think a lot of people did have the same kind of idea. It's the same with me. I started getting properly back into this early last year as the coronavirus was becoming a thing. It was kind of January. I really hit my stride probably in May, around about the same time you guys had sounded like you hit your strides, created your channels, and went from there. And I think for a lot of people on Twitch, whether you're a streamer or you're a viewer, Twitch has been essential to getting through quite a bit of the lockdown. I think communities have grown extensively, and there have been some fantastic stories of people really pulling together, as is this one, during a time of hardship for quite a lot of people. And it's fantastic to see that you guys have really benefited is the wrong kind of word, but I guess benefited from pulling together everything. And it is fantastic to see that. It's such a great story. And it doesn't look like it's stopping there either. It feels like you guys are laying the groundwork and really starting to ramp up and build a huge community full of fantastic content creators. And it's kind of the next point going on. You know, what would you say your current goals are as an entire team? I mean, Monty, you said that, or you guys said that Monty kind of had the idea for the team. I'm guessing you might be the best person to talk about this initially, but do you have any, you know, current goals for the next 6 months or so to a year?
The only current goals I'm currently aware of would be building the team up.
Yeah.
I'd say when the idea came to mind, it was off the back of Ellie's Rush server, in which invited a lot of content creators to join, all of who we already interact with. But because of the server, I noticed interactions within people's streams and their communities all mixing together rose quite a bit. And then with the ending of the Rush server, I did mention to Ellie, I was like, are you planning on turning this into an official thing? And then that's when we ended up talking about it. But as far as I'm aware, unless Ellie or Shelby's got more to add, I think it's just a case of we're still at the very, very early stage at the moment. Yeah. Very early stages.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think, yeah, it's kind of building a team, creating the awareness, and kind of just seeing what happens over the next couple of months. You know, we're obviously taking a bit of a focus in a couple of weeks on a charity and doing a tournament, so it'll be interesting to see how well that's received and kind of see how well that we can kind of establish ourselves with that. So I guess it would just be keep building on what we have and pushing forward with it.
See, that's another really good point. I think a lot of you guys, and Monty, I've had a look kind of over this. You guys are very strong on charity and doing charity streams and, you know, providing content for different forms of charity. And that is tremendously commendable. It's absolutely fantastic to see people in any form of community doing work for charity. And the fact that you guys have built an entire tournament around this is something that's just fantastic. And I'm really excited to see how that tournament goes. I mean, if any of you want to talk about the tournament itself and promote that, then please, by all means, go and do right now, because I think the more people that get involved, the better the tournament will just generally be anyway, and it's already ramping up to be something that's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah,
would you like to?
Yeah, I'll do it. Don't worry, buddy.
I was going to say, you know the most.
Essentially, we've got a Duos Apex Legends tournament coming up. Is it next Saturday or is it the Saturday after?
Saturday after, so the 20th and the 21st of March.
There we go. That weekend specifically, or the weekend after Mother and Sunday, where we're going to be having a buy-in purely for charity. I think it's £5 per team. No prize at the end, just
bragging rights.
A role in the Discord, some bragging rights,
Yeah.
and obviously the ability to say that you won versus some of the finest players in Apex Ldtv has to offer. yeah, all for Prostate Cancer UK. 100% of the proceeds are going towards that. Just something really important to highlight is the fact that we as a we as founders have done a lot for charity, but equally there's a lot of streamers within Ldtv, and even just the members, not even part of the stream team, have done a lot for charity as well. So I think having Lockdown TV being able to help in any way is just another short string to our bow.
No, of course, and it's like I said, it's really commendable to see you guys pulling together and doing this for an important charity. And just from how much charity work you've all done in the past, from what I can see, and a couple of your members as well that I know of, such as Random Online Gamer, who brought me to the community, actually. I know that he's done some charity work through his streaming as well. So this will probably be the first of many, and it's fantastic to see. And I, for one, am looking forward to seeing more and more, fantastic events for charity going on in Lockdown TV. I really am. And, it's going on from that, is this going to be a future goal going forward? Is charity events going to be something that you guys all focus on in the years to come, and, try to ramp up and have larger events than what's going on now? What's the kind of future plan for that?
Future plans in regards to charities and that, I believe we are looking at choosing a charity to hopefully raise money for. The only issue is we don't want to get people like Ben out of charity streams and stuff like that, because the amount of people that are doing them it's very, very high, and you don't want it. One of the things we don't want is people feel like they have to contribute all the time.
Yeah,
to that sort of thing.
No, of course, that makes sense. I mean, something like this Apex tournament is something that's quick. It's an event that's kind of short, quick, and they're done. It makes its contribution, which is fantastic. But I think I understand what you mean from that point. After a while, it can feel a little bit forced sometimes, and having them in short bursts as an event will probably be more impactful for sure.
The best way to put it is we've got 12 or 15 content creators currently on the stream team. If every one of them done once every 4 weeks, then we'd have the entire year booked up of someone doing a charity stream once a month.
Yeah.
We've got, I think, 80 members in the Discord now, including the founders and the stream team and the content creation team. If that happened again, then it would be one every, more than one a week. We'd have nearly 2 a week at that stage. And a lot of them are streamers. I'd say about 80% of the people in Ldtv collectively are streamers. And it's not a bad thing to do the charity streams by any means, way or shape or form. But when there's a lot of charity streams going on, it can create some pressure for people that know each other in the community to continuously donate, and we don't really want that to happen. So we thought with Ldtv we'll try and find an appropriate charity that we can all agree on to sort of drive forward as one big unit. And if other members wanted to go their own way and raise money for their own special causes, then we'll support them in any way we can.
Of course, yeah. And it's a really intelligent way to go about it, in my personal opinion, for sure. So that's fantastic to see. Anything to add on that, Shelby, at all?
No, I think they pretty much covered it. I guess it's just focusing our energy on something. And I think the reason we're doing it this way in the style of a tournament is that people can be involved in it as well.
Yeah.
And it's not just on one person to do 24 hours. Like I have to commend these two. They both have done 24-hour streams. I have not. I haven't had the pleasure of trying one yet.
It's not easy.
Yeah,
I'm
not good when I'm tired, to be honest. So I think it's a good way to kind of bring people together for a good cause, and like you said, for people to have a laugh. And I think that's really important, that we can do two things together, really.
Yeah. And like I said, I keep using the word impactful, but from a tournament for a buy-in, that is going to be a lot more impactful because you are bringing people in to get involved, and it's a really intelligent way of going about it, and it's fantastic to see. It's not just a case of, I'll stream X, so donate, which is a fantastic way to raise for charity, but having an actual event go on, it definitely feels more like you're involved as a viewer or as a player, which is great. Really, really fun way of doing it.
Is it something you may be entering? Yourself or
don't-
ROG? Maybe submit 2 teams.
I don't think you've ever seen me play Apex Legends, and there's a good reason why I don't anymore, because I'm terrible. No, I've thought about it, and I thought I might get involved, actually. It does look like fun, and I would definitely like to get involved in the tournament. I've got a couple of Apex players in my community, and one guy who I know is a dead shot on FPS games that I might approach to see, because whilst I am humble in the fact that I'm terrible at video games, I'm very competitive. So if I can be carried through it, hallelujah.
I will add that though, like, don't be put off if you're not
No, of
the
course.
best at
yeah.
Apex, because I'm not. I think my partner thinks I'm going to carry her. Can't wait for us to figure out I'm not, because Monty's been bigging me up in the wrong way. But yeah, I think it'll be a laugh regardless. And you know, I'm gonna try. We'll see how far we get. And I would say that to everyone. It's all worth just trying. You never know. You might fluke it and win. Who knows?
As Ellie says, there's no skill requirement at all for this
No.
tournament. At all.
No,
That's why Monty's entered.
It's probably why I'm going to be entering. But no, I'm looking forward to it. Is there any plans for soft casting or anything like that to go on?
Yeah, Hole's our resident mod, someone I've known for a very long time now, in terms of streaming, is going to be the commentator, and I'll be the analyst.
That'll be brilliant. I'm looking forward to this.
Because Holes doesn't play Apex, so he doesn't actually know what's going on. He just
Oh, that's
he's
going to
very,
be
very good at
even
describing
better.
things.
I did ask that question yesterday. I was like, how are you going to know who the characters are? But then Ellie was like, I'm there to support. So it should be an interesting commentation.
I'm looking forward to it even more now. I can't wait. Okay, so I wanted to stay on kind of future goals and everything like this. You know, we've got the fantastic work with charities, but as an overall team, you know, what are your long-term goals? And I know you guys are still in the early stages, and there's a lot of work that needs to be done here. But I'm talking aspirations. If you could reach to anything, what would it be for the team? You know, would it be getting to a point where you're stream coaching? Would it be, you know, building a successful YouTube channel as a streaming team? What are those aspirations?
That's a good question, that.
We'll
So
know that we've done something good when with someone within the Ldtv gets partnership. Sorry, Monty, you go.
I was going to say, because some of the goals we've somehow managed to achieve, especially thanks to Ellie, with the fact that at the moment we have no partners on the team whatsoever, yet we have an official Twitch team, which is a massive respect to Ellie there.
Yeah, it's huge.
Yeah, thank you.
That is. I think this is the first case of me ever hearing about a non-partnered stream team, really. So.
It's the first that you know of. There is quite a few out there.
Okay.
Where people kindly gift them, or if you know someone, you can ask kindly.
Right, I see.
Yeah. But
it's interesting to know. There you go, everybody. If you wanted to build your own team, get networking.
Yes.
Get
I think
Pally with some partners.
I think down the line for the Discord specifically, I know we muted having a Discord partnership at some stage, but the criteria for that is a long, long way off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's sort of like the end. That's like the creme de la creme of when we know that it's you know, reaching our final form, as to say.
No, that makes a lot of sense. That makes a lot of sense. And then, is there anything past that? Any aspirations past that? Do you think, you know, if let's say you do hit that mark, do you feel like you've got a clear idea of where you would go next from there, or do you believe that to be quite far down the line that you've not even had those
don't know
dreams?
about Shelby and Monty, but I'm very impulsive. So when it reaches that, I'll find something else to think about, and then I'll say, "Well, I'm doing that," or "Can we do this, guys?"
Yeah, I'm very much in the mindset I like short-term goals.
Yeah. No,
Because
that makes sense.
I think when you put a big goal sometimes you can get disheartened when you're not getting there, or you don't feel you're getting there at all, or not making any progress. So I think these guys feel the same as me. Those short-term goals just feel like you're achieving, and it kind of spurs you on to keep going, and you just keep pushing yourself along, creating new goals as things kind of develop.
Yeah, that makes sense. That's I think a lot of people for sure need to have that kind of mindset going in, is get those small goals when streaming. And we'll get to your advice for new streamers and people currently streaming, but for sure with goals, don't make them outlandish, make them achievable and kind of short term, and push on from them with the dream, pushing on, thinking, you know what, 5 years from now, I'll be there. No. Like, definitely short term, I think, is definitely a great piece of advice for people.
Yeah, if you're gonna plan in small bites. Very much so.
I agree with that.
So I'd say if you've looked into my stream, everything I do is pretty much off the cuff. I don't plan anything, which is really bad. But a lot of the stuff with Ldtv, even the way Ldtv came about, was very much off the cuff, and it only took us 2 weeks to get it implemented as well, which is mad. But yeah, long term, we've not quite decided exactly, but we've got like our short term goals.
No, that's good. There's usually two types of people in the world. There's planners and then there's doers. Unfortunately, planning is in my job title, so I'm a planner, which means that I don't get anything done, whereas doers do stuff while planners go, that's amazing, how have you done that? And unfortunately, that's what I'm like right now. Like, wow, how have you guys done that? I've been planning to try this for months, I've just not done it. So yeah, it's fantastic to see that. And I get it. Just do. There's a good piece of advice. Stop planning and just do.
I think it's helped that all three of us have like the same mindset. So the fact that we all just wanted to crack on, all three of us just made it happen.
Yeah, definitely.
And we're very strong characters, and we have our own independent thoughts about stuff. So I think having that variation, thus we're not all similar.
Yes.
In the same way of thinking, it actually gives us a good dynamic to work off of. In fact, a great dynamic to work off of.
I can see that. Whenever I've been in any of your streams, it's always different. There's a different positive vibe, and it's, entertaining. You're right. It's not just the same thing, as sometimes that can happen within teams. You've got teams that are dedicated to a specific game or a specific genre of games, and after a while, it's just, I'm watching Call of Duty again. Great. Whereas when you've got a good mix of people who have the similar mindset as you all do, that are playing different games, it's entertaining for your entire community to jump from one to the other, follow the raid over, and have a whole host of different entertainment options. It's really good to see.
Yeah.
That is one of the things we do want, is that variety.
Yeah.
We don't want it to become a case of everyone on Ldtv just watches Ldtv. We don't want the streamers themselves to only raid like Ldtv members and the such. We want them to still have their own friends, raiders, viewers, all that sort of stuff, their own group of people, so to speak.
Yeah. You're essentially a community full of communities, and that seems to be the way that you guys are moving in that direction, is what I'm getting from the team itself.
Mm-hmm.
Excellent.
Yeah,
I'm glad you agreed. I thought I was about to step on toes. No, okay. I wanted to have a bit of a deeper dive down to you guys a little bit individually. Just to get a flavour of kind of who your inspirations are across the streaming world and content creation worlds and all of that good stuff. So, Monty, if I start with you, who would you say is your general inspiration across the content creation industry at the moment?
At the moment, this is going to sound cheesy as hell, but my main inspiration is the likes of Ellie and Shelby and that. I know that sounds daft, but it's because at the moment.
I've just gone bright red.
I'm being serious because I don't watch a lot now that I stream myself. I don't watch a lot of the big streamers anymore, or a lot of the big names within streaming. I used to watch a hell of a lot of Dr. Disrespect. I think my dad used to watch a hell of a lot of Dr. Disrespect as well.
That's an inside scoop, if ever I've heard one.
Who else? I can't remember. Shroud and stuff like that.
Yeah,
because I love the FPS side of stuff. But at the moment, I don't really follow any of them. I don't really watch any of them. Just down to the fact that it's just the same thing over and over again. And I put a lot of my extra time off streaming into being able to support the other people who have helped me.
Yeah, no, I get that. And I see you a lot in the Discord, in the help and support section, which I'm currently on now, where there is some fantastic advice across the help and support section. So I can see that you put a lot of time and effort into making sure, all of you do, making sure that people within the community are, getting the help and support that they need. Hence why it's in the help and support channel. So I get that. Being a content creator who's put almost every single minute of free time into his content, I can understand that there is a lot of no time whatsoever through the day. So I completely get that. But Dr. Disrespect and Shroud are definitely up there as some of the biggest inspirations for content creators kind of across the world at the moment. Everybody would love to play as well as Shroud does, and everybody is thoroughly entertained by Dr. Disrespect. Let's face it, his production value is amazing.
It's mad,
and it's good fun to watch. But they're getting inspiration from your own community is something. I've got a couple of creators in my community who give me a lot of inspiration. They're fantastic in some of the things that they do. So the fact that you've said, Ellie and Shelby is not cheesy in any way, shape, or form. The people that you keep around you better you in my eyes. So that's great to see that dynamic is also in there. Shelby, I'll go with you next. So kind of your inspirations, anybody that you emulate, anything along those lines?
Again, I'm going to be really, really
Come on.
Let me, I didn't really watch streamers before I streamed. The only thing I watched on Twitch before I really got into Twitch was the Overwatch League. But obviously they've moved that off now. So I coming into streaming and seeing all these big content creators and streamers and stuff, I'd never really seen that before. And people talk about Dr. Disrespect. I had no idea who he was a year ago. I know I sound really old right now, but that was it. It was never a world I was in. I watched a lot more YouTube.
Yeah.
So I again, my inspiration comes from kind of the people that are around and part of Ldtv and the smaller streamers I watch, because I enjoy those streams more because I get more engagement out of them. If I wanted to watch someone and not have them kind of interact with me, I would just watch YouTube. So it's kind of, that's where I would draw a lot of creativity from, is from people and that inspiration and stuff. There is one partner I have been kind of subjected to, and that would be Limmy, because my partner watches Limmy every morning. So I kind of have taken some inspiration from the way he has things set up as well, and I kind of like his approach to his BAMO, block and move on approach as well. I think that's quite a good lesson Limmy teaches people, is don't entertain trolls and things like that, just block them and move on from it. And I think that's a good lesson to learn, especially being so open on the internet.
Yes, absolutely. I think you go to any streamer who's been doing it for a little bit of time, they've got one story of being trolled or just flat out abused for no reason, because people think they can get away with it on the internet. So I completely get that. But I mean, taking inspiration from YouTube is not always something that, is taken away any less. I can't really think. Brain's not working now, but I take a lot of inspiration from YouTubers as well on content that I want to create. And whilst I do YouTube as well, I try to emulate that in streams. So, they may be kind of separate platforms, but they both enable each other. And a lot of creators, especially in the game sort of industry on YouTube are usually on Twitch, and there's a lot of sync between the two. So, you know, those inspirations from YouTube, you may not think are having an impact on you, but probably are. And it's obviously a positive one because from what I've seen from your streams, you're really entertaining. I've really enjoyed it.
Oh, thank you.
You're welcome. Ellie, I'll move on to you then. So your inspirations and your, you know, is there anybody you emulate?
He's
I'm
like,
going to
not
be the
these
one
guys.
to sell out.
Not these guys.
Yeah, no. So it goes in a few ways because of how I base inspiration on a few things. For my channel inspiration and the type of content that I create, probably similar to something like Lyric. I try and draw from a lot of energy from, and or Code Carnage for his longevity and being able to stream as much as he does, and as often as he does. But and this is where I bring it back down to Ldtv and Shelby and Monty. But in terms of my interactions with people and how I treat people and how I've been inspired by, particularly Monty and Shelby specifically, is essentially how they treat people when they meet people and how they bring them in and how inviting they are as they were to me and as they have been to many other people. But in terms of streaming, directly, Lyric, Code Carnage, Sips, probably Limmy slightly, apart from the swearing. But yeah, not much apart from that. I have a very simple stream design. My OBS only has one scene, so I try and keep it as least complicated as possible.
Yeah.
For good reasoning. But yeah, just want to carry on doing what I'm doing.
No, that's completely fair, and it doesn't always need to be overly complicated. I think a lot of people, and this is kind of going into the stream advice a little bit, I think a lot of people try to get the most expensive equipment and the most elaborate stream or the most elaborate content that they can to pull that together, to think that they're gonna be successful because of that. You know, I've got to buy the best equipment, the best camera, the best microphone, and I think a lot of people forget that content is king in this industry. Content is almost everything. You've got streamers who have got hundreds of thousands of viewers who are very, very simple in the way that they produce their content, but it's entertaining. And I think that's something that a lot of people can fall foul of, is focusing on the equipment instead of actually focusing on the entertainment factor and then you and that interaction point, which I don't think any of you guys have a problem with that. Every time I've jumped into your channel, you've been really open and you know, happy to see me, and it puts a smile on my face. That's cheesy. That's how you do cheesy, and it's fantastic to see. And emulating that is incredibly important for sure. And having those inspirations as well. I mean, I emulate my streams off of a couple of people. For people that watch me, I like to blare my music as loud as possible, act like a complete fool. A lot of that is from a creator called Baddie, who's a Tarkov creator. He blares his music. His energy is 110 constantly, and it's a massive inspiration for me because it's what I enjoy watching, and it's great that you guys emulate off of each other as well, because you'll all improve off of that and continue to move on and get better. So yeah, thank you guys for telling me, you know, your inspirations. It's been a real eye-opener to see kind of who inspires you, and the fact that it's all three of you together is really humbling and fantastic to hear. I can't stop smiling. It's so nice to hear. So I know that some of you guys have been streaming. Well, you've all kind of got into this within the last 10 months or so, and you guys have done a fantastic job within those 10 months. Now, what kind of advice would you give to other creators that are just starting out or want to know maybe how to push their channel to that next step? If I start with Ellie this time, we'll go back in the order that I've just come.
I'll be honest with you, I've got 1,000 ideas, so and 1,000 comments to make on this, because I talk about this quite a lot, despite not doing any of it. I talk about it quite a lot. So if I could just pass off to one of the others.
Absolutely, pass away.
So they can take my ones, so I don't talk for 10 minutes.
Shelby, do you want to go?
Yeah. It comes back to what you were saying before. You know, you don't worry about not having everything top of the range. Probably what is horrifying to a lot of people is I started on a Mac. You know, I started on my PlayStation and then I moved across to my Mac. And I was doing a lot of
sacrilege. No, I'm joking.
but it's what I had. So
yeah, of course.
you know, I started streaming from my Mac because I didn't think doing it from my PlayStation I was getting the right kind of thing. You know, I wanted the alerts. I kind of wanted a bit better interaction with chat and stuff. And honestly, the PlayStation isn't the best. I didn't think it was the best for me to stream directly from it. So I, you know, booted up my Mac, kind of set up that, and you know, with my Twitch payouts, I've been fortunate enough that I have been able to get those, and I've just been kind of building on content as I go,
Yeah.
and buying pieces, so like my microphone and stuff. And then, you know, fortunately enough, a couple of weeks ago, I was able to build my own PC with the thanks to, you know, like Ldtv and Ellie especially. You know, people were really kind. You know, they supported me. I had donations for things, and it kind of just humbles me that people wanted to help me, you know, take it to the next step. And as some have said to me, finally pass over to the master race. So here I am.
Welcome. We're happy to have you.
Yeah. So it's, you know, don't be too concerned about what you have. You don't need like a £3,000 PC to get started. Just start with whatever. And then I guess my only other advice to that is, you know, just do you, like, do what you enjoy. Don't, I think, like, to some level you do kind of need to follow the trends. But if you find that you're trying a game and you don't like it, don't force yourself to play it if you're not enjoying it, because I think the viewers will get that from you as well. And, you know, be patient. Growth doesn't happen overnight, and, you know, you've got to work a little bit hard, and, you know, there's different alleys you can go down to make growth happen, like YouTube. I know Ellie will come to this. Ellie will talk about YouTube, kind of like YouTube, and I know TikTok's a big one, although I haven't gone anywhere near it. I don't understand it. It's not for me, like TikTok and Twitter and things like that. So it's kind of just, you know, in a way, see what other people are doing, see if that works for you, and then also at the same time, just make sure, you know, you're not forcing yourself to do anything that you're not quite comfortable with, because otherwise it becomes more of a chore than you know, an enjoyable hobby, which is what I think streaming should be, just an enjoyable hobby that happens, you know, to sometimes, you know, pay occasionally, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, no, I agree with everything that you said. I really did. It's fantastic advice for new streamers and for current content creators that are looking to kind of get to that next step. I completely agree with you. A lot of people who are hung up on stuff like the equipment that they have are also very hung up on the game that they should play. And I know that Ellie's definitely going to dive into this, but from my experience and a lot of people's experience, the game that you play on Twitch doesn't always have the impact that people think it does. And, you know, doing what you enjoy is more impactful as a creator than what it is you're playing. And you're right, if you're not enjoying what you're playing, then you can absolutely see that in a streamer, for sure. So thank you for that, Shelby.
It's all right.
Monty, what's your content creation advice?
Get a Frenchie.
Get a dog. I completely agree with where Shelby was going with her side of things, especially the cheap and cheerful side of it to start with. It's you don't need much to get going, like, at all. I think there's a couple of people on the Ldtv team that still stream from the PlayStation at the likes of J Banks. It shows you can get your viewers and that without having to spend an absolute fortune.
It is a PlayStation 5 though.
It wasn't far previously on it, I swear.
Yeah, he did.
We cut that bit from the video.
Just kidding, buddy.
But one thing I'll go down is with Shelby mentioned earlier about Limmy's ban and move on. 100%. If you believe someone's not good for your chat, just get rid of them.
Yeah.
I ain't going to call them what I'd normally call them, but just get rid. If you want to know what that is, just check out the Ldtv rules. That's all I'll say. Yeah, just get rid of them, because one, it will for the sake of that one extra viewer in your chat, you're likely to lose more viewers, and it's going to impact your own mental health. So if anyone is being annoying, let's say, just get rid of them. They're not worth it at all. I can't remember what else I was going to say now. Just have fun with it. Just have fun with your stream. You'll be more engaging and you'll be more entertaining that way. If you don't feel like streaming for a little bit, don't worry about it. When you do come back, the viewers that do enjoy your content will be still there. Especially, I don't agree with this whole grind culture where you must be streaming 8 hours a day every day. Because if you're streaming 8 hours a day to 0 people, you're still streaming 8 hours a day to 0 people. It's not going to make a difference.
Yeah, I absolutely agree with that as well. There are some really important points that people need to take into consideration there, and I know that Ellie's going to push on this very soon, but Twitch is not a platform that does can't think of the word now. Brain has gone dead once again. Essentially, people aren't going to find you on Twitch. There's no
availability or visibility.
Visibility, thank you. That there is no visibility on Twitch whatsoever. There's no algorithm that's going to put you as a recommended channel to a lot of people. It's not very good for content creators, and we'll definitely touch on that soon. But I definitely want to talk about the kind of toxicity from a particular viewer. A lot of people around Twitch and around content creation have this notion that a smaller streamer is so desperate for viewers that a toxic individual, a toxic viewer, can say what they want and get away with it because from their mind, well, they're not going to ban me, nobody's watching them. That is absolutely not the case. If somebody is abusing you or being really awkward or just flat out being a nuisance in your channel, I agree with Monty, get rid of them. Just bin them, because if you don't want that in your community, then don't have that in your community. You are in control of that, and that one individual is not going to be your make or break. They just get them gone.
Yeah, completely agree.
I don't think there's much more to say on that. Say goodbye to them. Just kick them out the door. I gave that advice to somebody recently who was struggling with a viewer and was being quite pushy for a collaboration piece. And I just told him that at the end of the day, if you're not, if you're really struggling with this and they're becoming a nuisance, you just got to tell them straight. Even if you have a warning stage, warn them once. And if they continue, then goodbye. It's just not worth it. It's very stressful. And you're right, it can play on your mental health. But thank you for that, Monty. Ellie, come on. I know that you're probably where I am in terms of you will watch people like Harris Heller, Devin Nash. You've got a whole range of information.
Funny enough, I don't watch any of them.
Do you not? Interesting.
I watch Harris Heller, to be fair.
I'm excited now.
I don't particularly like Harris.
Harris is too nice.
Yeah,
Maybe that's why I like him. If that comes back
to bite me, Harris, I don't like you, buddy.
Sorry.
If he is watching this, I love him. Hit me up. Let's go. No, okay, I'm interested now. Go on then.
Right. Okay. Twitch is very. Think of Twitch almost. You've got to be sustainable in what you do as a streamer, whether that's you've got one follower or 10,000. No matter what, you've got to be sustainable. In my opinion, one thing streamers do, they look to gravitate towards other people, other streamers, in order to integrate with a community and potentially grow their channel. One of the things that happens with that is, unfortunately, they go into this almost like support for support culture, where they think because they're getting involved with a community or a group that they should, in turn, sometimes have this notion of being able to be watched by them, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
And sometimes it feels like they're owed, and that is a really big mistake for small streamers to start out and go with. And almost what happens is, and what I've noticed, streaming from April, May, June, and seeing a lot of new people that were my viewers then go on to become content creators themselves, is the expectation can't be there for that type of thing to happen, especially if they're new streamers anyway. My main advice is you don't need expensive equipment. You don't need a lavish setup. Sometimes you don't need a camera. Myself, Hot Sauce, one of the Ldtv stream team don't have a camera at all. Hot Sauce does very well. I do very well out of it. But you've got to be able to network and look at other channels to see not what you're doing wrong or what they're doing right, but just seeing what the overall trend is, and how they're interacting and engaging with people, and etc. etc. One huge thing I'd say is YouTube, if you can do it. Reason being is if you're live for 2 hours 3 times a week, you are only able to capture an audience for 6 hours in that week. If you have content on YouTube, which is a an always online medium for being able to capture or generate some views, depending on what the algorithm does, you at least have something out there that someone can find at any other point, and keeping it current to what you're currently streaming as a streamer and not just as a YouTube content creator, I think is very important. I think I've spoken quite a lot about with Shelby, the thumbnail game and the title game and stuff like that. Is hugely important for the algorithm. You kind of got to play the game slightly, both with Twitch and YouTube. And I'd invite people to look into that as much as they can as they're starting out, and don't burn themselves out on it. Don't just think because I've only got 1 view on my YouTube video that you're not going to make it. There wasn't a single YouTube video or YouTube creator or Twitch streamer out there that started on 1 and then expected to get to 1 million the next day. It is a road and not a fall or rise, sudden rise. But yeah, I have lots of positive and negative ideas to bring to the table on advice, but I would say do it, but just don't expect magical things to happen. It is a long and tedious road. You've got to do a lot of things right, and a lot of it is a game of chance, and some of it's a game of luck. If you think of how many Twitch streamers there are out there, or content creators there are out there, and how many actually almost make it, we're talking a very, very slim percentage. That's just my thoughts on it. Other people might be a bit more optimistic, but I would definitely say do it as an experience and do it for fun. Don't do it trying to get something out of it, because that's when the expectations will be dashed.
Yeah, that's a really good piece of advice to anybody trying to get into it. A lot of people do this for the wrong reasons. They think that they will just become famous overnight, and then when they're not, then of course that plays a huge factor to their kind of mental health and so on. This industry is not a sprint. This is very, very much a forever moving marathon, and will always be a forever moving marathon. You've all touched on some really fantastic points and fantastic advice to people, and I completely agree with you, Ellie. YouTube, my God, what was that? That was loud. Jesus, you cracking a beer open. Has it been that terrible of an interview?
No, that was Puma open a can of Diet Coke. I gave him the dead eyes look. I was like, what are you doing?
Fantastic. I love that. Anyway, back onto the subject. YouTube is so important because you've just kind of hit the nail right there on the head. It's so good for the fact that when you're not online, people can still find you. And that's what a lot of the early stages of being a creator is about, is that abilities for people to find you. And I'm going to use Harris Heller as a good example for the kind of industry that we're in at the moment. So Harris Heller was quite a successful Viner when Vine was a massive thing. But that's all he was. He was just a Viner. He didn't do anything else. He didn't do YouTube. He didn't do social media. He didn't do anything. When Vine died, quite abruptly as well, he went from having a couple 100,000 people following him to nothing, just gone. That's it, all over. And he had to build from the ground up again. When he started to build from the ground up, it took him a couple of years to get his YouTube career off the ground. But then once it was into a good place, he started to build his own business around that. So he went into Twitch streaming. He does his YouTube, which has helped quite a lot of new streamers get to the point where it's at. He now does Stream Beats, which is, a direct battle against the DMCA situation that a lot of content creators have found themselves in. And he's created a fantastic range of music for people to listen to when they're live, and moving that into a branch of his business. Now, he's had that kind of community before, and a lot of people may have recognized him at the time, but again, he's had to rebuild his entire community, and people have had to do that. They've had to start from ground zero and bring themselves up. Branching out not only allows you to have your face on different parts of the internet, you're completely improving your discoverability. That was the word I was looking for. Your discoverability across the entire internet. And you're right, you may have just one view, but that video could become popular next year. I've got a video on my channel that I made 7 months ago that had 50 views in November. I think it's now about 800, and I've not promoted it. I've not done anything with it. It's to a point where people have found it because they needed it at the time. And that's what YouTube gives to you. I think there's been a couple of creators that have said YouTube is like a lottery. You buy a ticket, but you can win sort of whenever, if that makes sense. One video that you've made 2 years ago could become very popular, and that's how you get your name kind of around there. And if you're just trying to grind, as Monty had said, and done that 8 hours grind for 7 days a week, you're not being as discoverable as you should be. And if you're looking to move this into a career, that's the starting point. That's your groundwork. You need to kind of layer that out and make sure that you've thought about where else can you be discovered, and try not to do it all in one go. Don't do YouTube and Twitter and Facebook and TikTok and Instagram all in one go. Focus on one or 2 or 3 things that you can put more time into it to grow from there, and then eventually put those other aspects into your, those arrows into your quiver, essentially. But again, I don't think I've really disagreed with anything you've all said. I'm there with you. I've watched a lot of people who, talk about content creation. Ashley Christ is one of them. Devin Nash, somebody who I mentioned before, is a fantastic source of information. If you guys don't know who Devin Nash is, I definitely recommend giving him a watch. He does some fantastic talks with people all across the industry. And yeah, fantastic advice. I think the one thing that we did touch on earlier in this interview, which is something that none of you mentioned, was goals. Individual goals, this is. Now, a lot of people, from my experience, set up goals that are very focused on external factors. And what I mean by this is, I'm going to have 1,000 followers in the first 3 months. Now, you as a creator, you don't have any sort of say on that whatsoever. That's dependent on others coming into your channel, coming into your YouTube channel, watching your content. For me, your goals should be specific to something that you can control. I will stream X amount of hours a week on X amount of days. I will produce 1 video in every 2 weeks. I will release 10 tweets every week at least. They may seem like simple goals, but they're easy goals to focus on and to give you that groundwork to kind of move on and start your career, whether or not that's something that you're pushing for or something that is just a hobby that you're having fun with. Like I said, guys, before we started, I like to chat.
It's all good. It's all good.
But hopefully you guys agree with everything you've all said, that I've said. And is there anything else that anybody else wanted to talk about before we kind of finish up there?
Yeah, only very briefly.
Yeah.
I won't go on for the waffle as I did earlier, but don't get too stressed about the metrics.
Yes.
Don't worry.
Fantastic advice.
If it goes up, it goes up. If it goes down, it goes down. Just try and be happy. If you're trying to chase metrics, then you're just going to get disappointed.
Yeah. Metrics are a good indicator. They are not the be all and the end all. Don't focus on them. It's hard to say that because my actual job is so focused on metrics and targets and data that I can't help but sit there every single night when I get that email through to go, that was a good stream. That was not a good stream.
I think it depends on it as well, though, because I my background to when I started streaming is very different because I started on a very high plateau and have gone downwards since, because the way I shape my channel and the way I kind of do what I want to do. But people expect metrics, expect certain goals by certain times and stuff like that, which I do as well. I can't deny that. But if you chase it and you become, obsessed by it, or let it lead your channel rather than you leading the channel towards that goal, it becomes very negative for you.
I agree with you there. One thing I will add on that is try not to compare yourself to similar channels as well.
Yeah.
Especially when
That's
it comes to follow account. Do
Yeah.
not take notice of the follow account. I mean, I myself have a follower goal on my screen, but that's for other reasons. But don't compare your followers to someone else, especially when you can buy 500 followers for like £2. It's ridiculous and it's stupid. It's just a number at the end of the day, and it means nothing because you may have all these followers, but if you sat there with 2 average viewers, they're clearly not watching you.
Yeah, definitely.
Yes.
And I think Elios gave me the best advice. Just ride the wave of it. Like, it's gonna come and go. I think he said the corona chart, up and down, and that's just kind of what Twitch is. There will be some periods where everything will be up, and there'll be periods where everything's down. It just depends what's popular, what's happening, kind of things like that. So yeah, I agree with them. Don't get too disheartened. Although it's easier said than done, but just try to, just focus on what you're doing, and think things do change, and you never know.
You will have slumps.
Yeah, definitely.
Everybody does in every aspect of life. It happens. Just my particular advice with that is turn off your viewer count. It makes a world of difference. It did with me.
Yeah.
It really did with me because you're not constantly worrying about why did it just go from 11 to 4. The viewer count itself is not updated in real time, so I wouldn't even bother having it on. Produce a stream as you would for 100,000 people, even if it's just the one. Don't focus on that, and just be nice and interactive, really.
Jesus, if 100,000 people saw me in that leotard, I'd be famous right now.
Oh, I'm still waiting for it. I when you showed that video on your channel, I was all over the place. I was rolling on the floor. I loved it. It was brilliant. And then I got my comeuppance when you played the random clip of me doing my anime girl voice, and I wanted to cry.
Karma.
It was karma through and through. The moment that I saw the clip pop up, I knew exactly what it was, and that's why I typed no in caps lock.
Just one thing very quickly, just popped into my head. On YouTube, I don't know if you have noticed, but you'll notice some YouTube channels of either Twitch streamers or YouTube personalities have started having almost like a YouTube Shorts channel crop up. Try do that.
Yeah.
Take one clip a day from your channel and upload it to that separate YouTube channel because it will get click receivership as long as it's under a minute. This is a bit of a YouTube, in my opinion, just looking at it, a YouTube algorithm game at the moment.
Yeah, that's what a lot of these kind of platforms are. They're algorithm games. You're trying to appease the algorithm to get more discoverability. So anything that breaks the algorithm is fair game as much as I see it. That's why everybody who was a YouTube partner were doing the surveys, because I think it was about 3 times more discoverable with the surveys than what they were from just regular videos. So play the algorithm game, get understanding it. It's a great piece of advice. And I think that is everything. So guys, thank you so much for agreeing to do this with me, doing it with me. And I think your views and everything that we've discussed has been really integral for me to get to know you guys better. And I think for your viewers to get a good understanding of what your motivations are, who your inspirations are, and really what future creators can really think about to push their channels forward. And it's been fantastic to talk to all 3 of you as a team. And I'm looking forward to the Apex tournament coming up, but I'm looking forward to seeing where Ldtv is in the next 6 to 12 months for sure. So
Thank you for having
Awesome.
us.
Thank you very much.
You're most
Thank you very
welcome.
much.
Cheers, man. Thank you.
If you want to do
Thank
some
you.
self-promoting, don't worry, everything will be down in the description. But go ahead, self-promote away. Anybody can go first. Come on, don't crawl over each other.
We don't do self-promotion in LDTV.
Damn
We're
it.
too awkward.
That's against
Damn
the
it.
rules.
Well, everybody who's watched this and got to this point, the LDTV link is going to be in the description. So by all means, get up in there. They're fantastic people. They'll help anybody who's struggling with any bit of kit. They'll give some fantastic advice, and they're all entertaining to watch. So what are you still doing? Get over there. One of them's probably live right now. Come on, let's go. But yeah, again, thank you guys. We'll finish up there. Thanks anybody who has watched this episode of the ICU, and hopefully we'll see you in another one shortly. But thanks guys. Good night. God bless.